Hey, are you planning on buying children's toys for the holiday season this year? Do your shopping now. Welcome to Wolf's Watch. I'm Wolf, and as always, as the leader of the pack, I am scouring the countryside for tips, resources, insights that help you move your business forward. And as a business leader, you've likely got family, right? Either you have kids that are living at home, they've moved out, maybe you've got grandchildren, uh, you have nieces, nephews, kids that you just like and you buy presents for on the holidays, on their birthdays. Better do your shopping now. And here's why. Check this out. I got something to share with you. CNN Business reports Barbie, check this out. Check this headline. Barbie maker says higher prices are coming just in time for the holidays. Isn't that wonderful news? We've been talking about inflation. This is more on what's coming. So far, inflation has tripled this year. I've got a quote that I want to share with you. Remember, it's tripled so far this year, and a lot of CEOs are beginning to say, you know what, we see this continuing to accelerate, not just staying, but continuing to accelerate through the end of the year. So here's what CNN quotes Mattel's CEO is saying. It says, managing through, this is a quote, managing through global supply chain challenges, right? So it said that's including higher production and shipping costs. So they're going to pass that along to the, pass that cost along to the markets, which means prices are going up. So how does that affect you and your family? How does that affect your employees or your customers? Are you going to lose a sale because somebody's putting money into a Barbie or other gifts that are going up? This was a question that was posed on our last session on inflation. Where are you in your customers' priority list for making purchases? Are you up there at the top, stuff they need like eating, putting gas in their car, keeping their car on the road, keeping their lights on in their home? Or are you somewhere down the line with, I don't know, being that fifth pair of blue jeans that they have, or that new formal evening gown, or formal, black tie dinner bow tie? You've got a couple of those, don't you? Either a gown or a bow tie or both. Think about that. Where is it, that type of purchase, or are you much higher up on the necessity scale? And how can you make the argument with your customer that should continue to buy from you as their dollars get scarcer due to inflation? That's not the only pressure that's on their buying decision, right? It is an increasing one. So here's something from the CNN article. Well, we've got this up. Here's something from the CNN article to share with you. See, Hasbro. So, Hasbro is saying the same thing as Mattel. That's another huge toy manufacturer, as you're likely very aware with. Here's the money line. Parents hoping to nab this year's hottest toys might need to act fast when they become available because of tighter supply. So it's not just prices going up, it's availability's going down. How is that affecting your business? How is that affecting your supply chain and your ability to deliver to your customer? Is there something? We'll come back to articles. We got another article to share with you. Is there something in your supply chain that could become scarce that will stop you from delivering to your customer? Right now in Detroit, there are cars right off the assembly line that are just being rolled out to parking lots. They don't have the chips that they need. There's so much electronics embedded in a modern car, right? Do you have a touchscreen in your car, or at least a display, if not a touchscreen? See, getting all excited, smacking my microphone again. You need to think about that, right? Because of what happened last year, electronics, semiconductor parts are still scarce. The supply chain is still messed up. And part of the problem is, as the economy got shut down last year, that created a problem because nothing's operating, or a lot of things aren't operating. Well, now that the global economy is largely opened up, we're almost back to pre-pandemic levels of economic activity. That's squeezing the supply chain, right? It's going boom, putting pressure on it, because all of a sudden they've got to spool back up. They've got to fill that supply line back up after being completely shut down. Well, that's creating some competition for scarce resources, right? You've likely experienced that. Yeah, you've experienced some of that. So what are you doing about that? Now, here's another quick share, and then we'll get to tips. All right. We're going to talk about what do we do? What can you do to combat this, to be in a strong position while your competitors are stumbling, to be the choice that your customers make because you're there for them and out serving the rest of the market in terms of getting what they need. That your employees are staying. And that's another topic that we've had, right? We talked, if you've been keeping up with Wolves Watch, we've been talking about the war for talent and how pressure has been put on keeping the right talent, but also creating an opportunity to find new talent. Now, so here's the other note. I'm pulling this up for you. So something from the Wall Street Journal that continues to put a fine point on this. Look at this. Brace for higher prices for ice cream, beer, and bottled water. That's from the Wall Street Journal. More inflation. See, this is not really good news. And here's the money quote from this article. And I highly recommend that you pick up a Wall Street Journal. This is going to be in the July 30th edition of Wall Street Journal, I believe, or July 31st. Check this out at wallstreetjournal.com. Here's the money. Nestle CEO executive Mark Schneider, quote, after several years of low inflation, all of a sudden it accelerated very strongly starting in March, and it's continuing to accelerate. So this is coming from a CEO. Hang on a second. Let me close this out. This is coming from a CEO of a major corporation that's giving guidance to the markets and saying it's going to continue. Now, those in the know, economists, the Federal Reserve, 2 months ago, they were saying, hey, you know what? This is just transitory. We're seeing a spike in inflation. It's because the economy is opening back up after after the forced closure that we had in 2020 during the Great Shutdown, because they allowed businesses to open back up again. That created this sudden rush because that created a situation where you've got scarce resources, a limit, right? You know how that is. The less of something, the more the price goes up, right? The premium products, scarcity. Now they've been backing off on that. We're hearing from Federal Reserve, from government, well, we're carefully watching. So they've gone from, nothing to worry about. This is temporary, it's transitory. That was just 2 months ago. Now here we are in July. They're starting to say, well, we're watching this carefully, and you'll see what policy moves to make in response. So, and the smart money, the CEOs of the major corporations that are already getting hit hard. See, they're saying this spiked, right? Nestle CEO, this spiked starting in March, and it's continuing to accelerate. After already tripling, it's continuing to accelerate. You need to pay attention to inflation. Now, this is not a doom and gloom message, not about doom and gloom. You're at Wolf's Watch. This is just to put a fine point on it. This is a way of saying, look at me. Inflation is a huge risk right now, which also means it's a big opportunity if you get ahead of your competition, if you stay ahead of it. So what do? What do you do? If I have my notes, I can answer that. Sorry. Look, we got to laugh, right? This is a high entrepreneurial lifestyle. Is high pressure. Still got to be able to laugh. Laugh with me, laugh at me. Just keep laughing. Enjoy the journey. We're in this together. Want to see you succeed because you have such a big impact on your family, the teams that you employ, the communities that you serve. So here's something to take. Now, final point on what's happening with these inflation announcements from major corporations. You got Nestle, Hasbro, Mattel, major distributor Hey, sorry about that. Technology, you gotta love it. It almost works when you really need it. We've been working with a new computer the last couple of months, and it has proven to be a really bad decision. I bought an Acer Spin. Looked like it would be a great product. Did research, a lot of reviews, and it has turned out to be a total piece of junk. And it just crashed in the middle of the broadcast. Never had that happen before. Apologize for that. Always something new. That's how we learn what works and what doesn't work on live broadcasts. So I would not recommend Acer Spin. We will not be using that device anymore. And unfortunately, that was a major purchase for us to replace a aging computer that just finally, after 7 years, had not been workable. So we'll need to find another solution again, which we'll do, and that's part of the entrepreneurial life. So here's the thing: what I was starting to say before, it's about supply chain disruptions, commodity scarcities are being reported, and packaging prices are going up and shipping prices are going up. So these four things are being reported by the major companies that are supplying consumer goods, that are supplying parts to industry, like the automotive industry. Back to the issue of cars, not going to the sales room floor, they're being completed on the assembly line, parked in parking lots at the manufacturers because they don't have the electronics to be able to finish them. They finish everything else around it. How is that affecting you? And what can you do to combat that? So here's first tip is something from the liquor industry, if you will. They've been facing price increases, upward pressure, wages. That's the fifth part of the inflationary pressure that's being talked about most in the reports, like we just covered from CNN and Wall Street Journal, about what the CEOs are saying of these major corporations, which means you're likely seeing the same thing, right? Probably seeing it before them. You may be one of the businesses that's passing that along to them. Well, the first thing is in the liquor industry, what they've been doing is focusing on selling premium product. It's higher margin, right? So they're making the sales of higher margin, what they have on hand, premium product right now, which is helping them hold profits, holding their aggregate profit margin on everything that they're selling. So that's the first tip. Focus on your premium products. Focus on those sales because that's something you can control and do right now. And it has a near immediate benefit, right? Because when you do something new, if you're launching a new product, how long does it take to make that decision and get that translated into new dollars in your bank account? Probably 6 months. It's my over under. Not true for you? Great. Let me know. Put it in the comments here. I want to hear about that. But from what I've seen in companies across multiple industries, 6 months is a good over under on that. Focus on your premium products. Can you create a new product stack to offer that bundles in premium products so that you can increase your price with a new offering based on repackaging what you've already got, either in products or services? If you're in professional services, e-commerce world, it's faster, easier to do that. Something to consider. Even if you're dealing with physical goods, what can you do? How can you work terms as part of your new quote unquote stack for your customers? These big companies that are talking to the business media because they have to do the quarterly reports to analysts, right? It affects their stock price, and they're taking a hit because their profit margins are down. Profits are going down because they're stuck in the gap between they've got suppliers. It's costing them more on the supply side. They can't pass along the cost in increased prices yet. They're stuck with their cycle. They're looking at a quarter, right? Over under for them to get the price, just the policy price increase implemented is 90 days. So you're looking at seeing the effect of that when you're going to the gas pump, when you're going to the grocery store, when you are going to shop for holidays, for birthday, for your anniversary. You're going to get hit with that later in the fall. It's already been announced. It's not, I'm not making this up. I'm not predicting. This is what they're saying they're doing. And when they say it should hit you in the pocketbook, same thing's happening to your customers and your employees. You need to be prepared with that. So while you're looking at that premium stack, taking that immediate action now, there's other things that you can do, which we'll be covering soon. We've got a couple more inflation-focused Wolf's Watches coming up. I want to get some message out to you. And again, this is not panic, whoa, gloom and doom. This is a golden opportunity right now because it's July. And if you've been paying attention in the business media, this is not new information. You've already heard this. If and you want to take action, right? So this is about what's the problem? Got to define the challenge so that it's possible to seize the opportunity that's contained within it somewhere, right? You got to get that shovel out and find the pony and then take action on that quick before your competition does, before your suppliers pass along even more cost increase to you. So we'll talk about what to do and some more tips of what works internally and also some things with your suppliers to work with them. And really, you may want to focus there next. So then the next Wolf's Watch, we'll talk about suppliers and some tactics that have been working for CEOs at other companies, because that's the next thing. You got to control that cost input as much as possible. Yes, you can control operations, but let's see if we can work the other side. Work the customer side a little bit, work the supplier side a little bit, and then dive into operations. So thanks for joining us for Wolf's Watch. I apologize for the technology issue earlier. We went offline for a minute there, got back on, and we will be swapping out the computer we're using to drive this and going back to got a production computer that we use that we'd set aside because we had new tech, and the new tech isn't as good as our standard tech that we were using. And again, this was a replacement for another piece of equipment. Anyway, prices are increasing. Holiday pricing is going to be up significantly. CEOs of major corporations in their statements to analysts, to the business media, the people that are really affecting their stock prices and their company values are saying, look, profits are down temporarily because we haven't been able to implement price increases as fast as our costs are increasing, but it's going to hit in the fall. It's all baked in the cake now. So begin with maintaining your profits, protecting your company by focusing on what's the premium products that you've got, the high margins. Go after those for right now, and have sales and marketing focused on previewing those, pushing that for more sales. Look at how you can restack. Can you create a new value stack, a new product stack, service stack, so that you can offer something new as that bundle at a higher price with a higher margin for you and still deliver more value to your customer. All starts with value to the customer, right? Thanks for watching this episode of Wolf's Watch. I'm Wolf, and I look forward to seeing you on the road.